Skate hands you a massive city to explore, endless rails to grind, and enough tricks to keep you learning for hours. From your very first kickflip to chasing friends across San Vansterdam, this game is all about freedom and style. But is the thrill of the ride enough to keep you coming back? Let's drop in and see if Skate sticks the landing. When you start the game, one of two things is going to happen. Let's start with the happy path. First, you have a chance to configure a handful of options. Then you choose your controller layout. If you're familiar with games in the Skate series, you can choose classic controls, otherwise you can use the streamlined controls like I did. Lastly, you head off to the character creator. In the character creator, there aren't a ton of options, but there are options. After your character setup, you're dropped into a basic movement tutorial, and that ultimately brings you to a point on the map where you're transported to the main city, San Vansterdam. The not so happy path is that when you start the game, there's a chance you're going to get stuck in a queue. The one you're seeing on screen is short, but I've had queue times of 10 and 15 minutes before. I have some more complaining to do on this, but it's way too early in the video for that, so we'll get to that later. Ultimately, your first time getting started is about 15 minutes, and anytime after that, assuming you don't run into queue issues, you're basically skating within a couple minutes. So we'll give Skate a point in this area. Every once in a while, we find a game where joining a friend is annoying, and Skate is among them. Before you can join a friend, you have to complete the tutorial and make your way to San Van. That's short for San Vansterdam, in case you were wondering. In fact, that's pretty much the only way they refer to it in the game. Anyway, it's not unusual to have to complete a tutorial before you can party up with friends in a game. But this is where everything starts to fall apart. I had my friend send me a friend request once they got to the point where they could. When I got the friend request, it was just a large string of numbers, presumably an ID related to his EA account. But that doesn't help me. What is this request and why am I getting it? If you're not communicating with a friend, you just have no idea what it is unless you go into your friend requests. Also, I went in there and saw their account twice, one inactive and one active. Now, once you're friends, you can either send an invite or join a party if the person you're trying to join allows it. In my case, I had my friend join on me. There is a teleport option that I tried to use so I could just teleport to them, but for some reason it was grayed out, so I just decided to skate over to them. But lo and behold, I couldn't see them. Like, I could see where they were supposed to be, but I couldn't see the character, only their nameplate. I had my friend try to teleport to me, and it didn't work. I could see the name tag move when they did, but nothing actually happened. I even went as far as spectating them and clicking the teleport button from there, and my game froze. After relaunching the game and re-inviting them to the party, they were finally able to teleport to me, and they showed up on screen. Oh yeah, and because I restarted the game, I had to wait in a queue again. Cool. I think it's safe to say Skate doesn't get a point in this area because this process should have been so much easier. Skate's objective is impossible to not figure out. Why is that? Because the game feels like one giant tutorial. I'm going to touch more on this in a minute along with the long queue thing I keep talking about, so just hang in there, I promise we'll get there. Ultimately, you'll learn how to skate the city and complete challenges on the map while you go. You can unlock other areas of the city, fast travel spots, and earn rip chips to unlock gear. At the end of the day, it's a skating game after all, so the objective should be pretty clear. Easy point in this area. When it comes to how you skate, there's a lot to learn. There's a literal encyclopedia, the Skatepedia, to learn how to do every trick in the game. There are a lot. Even though some are just the same movement in the opposite direction, there are a lot. And not all of them are easy to replicate, at least for a newbie like me. But once you go beyond the tricks, there really isn't much depth in this game. There's no story or career mode, so you're kind of just doing challenges and that's it. Like, sure, you unlock other areas and some fast travel spots, but unless those areas have something different than Hedgemont, then it's just more challenges. There's some variation in the challenges, but overall it starts to feel repetitive really quick. So due to the lack of depth, Skate doesn't get a point here. I kind of called it out when talking about depth, but in terms of replayability, I'm not really seeing much here. Typically, open world games have a ton of replayability because there's always something new to do. In Skate, I was excited when I saw that the challenges reset after a period of time. I thought, oh cool, I can complete these challenges and then come back when they reset and do new ones. Except that when they reset, it's just the same challenge again. Why the heck would I want to complete those? Like, how boring to get stuck in an infinite loop of the same challenges. The only other thing to really do to extend your gameplay is to skate around with friends, try new tricks, or do something cool for the memes. That doesn't really seem like enough to make the content replayable, so yet again, Skate won't get a point. When it comes to the number of people playing Skate, it's an insane amount. When I checked, there were 125,000 players online, and that number is steadily increasing day after day. This is only the Steam numbers too, and so the number is much higher with the game also being available on the EA and Epic stores. But not only that, it's available on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, plus the game is also being planned to be released on Android and iOS at some point in the future. So even though Skate didn't get points in some of those other areas, it does get a point for the number of players. Before I start getting into the likes and dislikes of this game, I have to let people know that this is my first Skate game. I haven't played any of the others in the series, and the only other skateboard games I played were the Tony Hawk games back in the day. So it's been a while. The things I'm talking about are strictly from a I played a game and here's what I experienced point of view. There's so many other creators out there who are skate fanatics that have great takes on this game, and I would recommend watching them if you're looking for more of a comparison. With that aside, something that I thought was cool about Skate is the level design. Every inch of the city is skatable. You can tell that a lot of thought went into every rail, every jump, every step, and pretty much every other aspect of it. The climbing spots are also thought out really well, and it makes traversing the city not only easy, but a lot of fun. It also helps to give a little variation by getting off your board for a bit. Sadly, that's kind of the only good thing I have to say, and so once again, Skate doesn't get any points here. Now it's time to strap in because we have a lot of problems to talk about. Starting with the first thing I mentioned early on, the queue. Sitting down to play a game only to find out that you have to wait in a queue to get access is extremely annoying, especially because it's from a publisher as big as EA. The publisher that's willing to let you make in-game purchases, but then when you want to come play their game and utilize the items you purchased, you can't. It's easy to see that there's a lot of demand for this game, but EA is a huge company and has the resources to not only plan for this, but to also provide enough servers to let people play, and they simply aren't. Maybe it's not worth the return for them, but then why do we have a live service Skate game? What's the point? Because we're talking about EA servers, I want to talk about some of the bugs I experienced because this is a great segue. On launch day, albeit later in the evening, the servers were unavailable. Now, being that this is an early access game and being overloaded on launch day, this was kind of expected, but again, it's frustrating seeing this coming from a publisher like EA. I'm not sure if anyone else has experienced this on other days or not, so maybe they're past the server issues, but I still wanted to mention it since it was my experience. Other bugs I ran into were my skateboard sound randomly stopping, but all the other sounds around me still worked, and missions weren't populating on the map when they were supposed to. Thankfully, restarting the game fixed this, but guess what? I had to wait in a queue to get back in. Aside from the issues I experienced, there are some fundamental issues with the gameplay that I expect will frustrate players. Starting with the fact that the first few hours in this game feel like a tutorial. You're literally guided from point to point to learn how to do things. Even when it seems like it's over, you go do something else for a little bit and then suddenly you're down another tutorial path. I get that there are a lot of things to learn in this game if you want to master it, but don't make it mandatory. Add it to the map and let players go to it when they want. Also, some of these tutorials are longer than they need to be. For example, skating to 4 different spots to figure out how to use the camera to create replay clips was really annoying. It's not even that feature rich. Just give me a brief overview and let me be on my way. I'll check it out on my own if I truly want to play with it. Digging into the gameplay a bit, the only thing there really is to do is challenges. And because some of the challenges that reset aren't actually replaced by different challenges, there really isn't much to do. There's no career mode, and aside from unlocking areas and cosmetics, I'm not really sure what else you would do in this game. Speaking of cosmetics, you can earn rip chips by completing challenges, but what sucks about them is that you can only spend them on mystery boxes. So after going out and completing a bunch of challenges, you don't really even get to choose what you're spending your chips on. Instead, you have to purchase a mystery box and hope that you get something cool. Thankfully, the items that you purchase with Sandvan Bucks, the game's paid currency, let you make those purchases individually. But it's still a mechanic I'm not a fan of. The next thing might just be a me problem, but I wanted to mention it for others who don't play skateboarding games regularly, or, maybe you're like me and you haven't played any other games in the Skate series. Even with the streamlined controls, I felt like it was kind of hard to control my character sometimes. Again, probably just me, but I feel like I was making the correct movements and my character just wasn't doing what I wanted. There were a couple of times it frustrated me to the point that I just had to quit. To make sure it was just me, I actually jumped into Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 and confirmed that I am just really bad at skateboarding games, even though they used to be my jam back in the day. Lastly, I know that there are a lot of people who are huge fans of the Skate series and are both excited and disappointed in this game. The frustration is very clear given the number of negative reviews that have popped up on Steam, as well as many creators on YouTube who've been making videos on it. As someone who's never played the games before, I can't relate to their criticisms. But reading through the negative reviews, it definitely makes sense why they're frustrated given the departure from the series and the fact that early playtesters have said that their feedback was basically ignored. The reason this is worth mentioning is the last part. If you're planning to start playing this game and you get really into it so much that you want to start providing feedback, be prepared to be ignored. You may or may not get what you want. Given that this is the longest tangent about a game's issues I've had so far in this channel, I think it's safe to say Skate will not be getting any points in this area. I know it's going to sound weird to you right now because I just spent a bunch of time talking about all the bad things about this game, but Skate is actually fun to play. I really did have a good time learning new tricks and skating the city, even though there were times I got frustrated. For me, checking off challenges is fun, even if they are repetitive, and playing something that's very different from the other games on the market right now was enjoyable. If you're looking for something that you can hop into with friends and have some fun, this will definitely scratch that itch, so Skate gets a point here. In terms of returning to the game, it's hard to say. If challenges in Skate refreshed with different challenges instead of the same ones, didn't have the queue issues to get into the game, had a career mode or at least some mechanic that made me feel like I was working towards something, I could see coming back. But right now, it seems like a shell of a game that has promise but hasn't delivered yet. I really do hope that this happens as Skate continues its early access, but for now, I don't really see a reason to keep playing it. So for this last section, it won't be getting a point. I came into this review with some pretty high hopes and expectations given that this is coming from a AAA publisher. But once again, EA has done nothing but disappoint. I hope that they start taking player feedback seriously and this game ends up thriving, but only time will tell. Ultimately, Skate ends up getting a 4 out of 10, placing it in C tier. If you're thinking about trying Skate, I've added links to the store page in the description. Also, don't forget to click the video link on your screen, because the next game might be your new favorite.